Hi. I gotta really catch you guys off guard. I've been becoming too predictable, and I don't like that sentiment. I really don't. Gotta keep you on your toes. So, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today, I'm going to be talking about my personal list of all the things that I am personally excited for to come in the future in terms of movies for this year, and a couple that have yet to have release dates. So I've got a couple that are coming out later this year that we're going to be starting with, and this will be in order of when they're coming out. So before we get into all of that, link for my Patreon will be in the description. You get an extra video at the end of every month. So if that interests you, if you want to get videos earlier than when I post them here on YouTube, once again, check out the description for all that information. So let's just go ahead and get into all of the upcoming movies that I'm excited for to come out later this year. Okay, so the very first one. This is the only non-horror movie, but it is one I'm probably one of the most excited for, and it's coming out very soon. It is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Now, if you don't know this about me, I think I've mentioned it maybe like once in passing in a video, but I love the Planet of the Apes movies. So when I was growing up, I would watch the 70s version with my dad. He loves Planet of the Apes. And then obviously when I was a kid, they remade Planet of the Apes, starting with Rise, and then they did Dawn, and then War, now Kingdom. So I love those ones. I'm kind of in the process of rewatching those, but Rise of the Planet of the Apes, mwah, that's a perfect movie. Love it. So nostalgic to me, super fucking sad. The story is so good. I get chills every time I watch it. I cry every time I watch it. That's a great movie. Dawn, a little bit weaker. But if you want to really hear my opinions about those movies, I will be talking about them in my April letterboxd recap, because like I said, I'm in the process of rewatching them with my husband before Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes comes out. I don't know why, I just love this concept of like apes overtaking the planet. It makes sense to me. Like, I understand it. I feel like it's plausible and it could happen, and that freaks me out. But I am so excited to see this. This is one of the rare chances I'll probably like be in the theaters premiere right when it comes out. That doesn't happen very often. Next movie that I'm actually pretty pumped for, just to see for shits and giggles, honestly, is The Strangers Chapter 1. This comes out May 17th. And I've watched the newer Strangers, I guess. I don't know. I've seen all the Strangers. I mean, I've seen all the Strangers. I saw the OG ones, and then they made a second one, Pray at Night. I've seen that one too. Home invasions freak me the fuck out. So these movies freak me out. Like, they're not like, ooh, scary, like scary faces. The masks don't scare me. But it's just the idea of someone breaking into my house that scares me to death. I don't really care if it's like, ooh, chapter 1, this is the very beginning. I don't really care about that. I'm not the biggest fan of prequels. I just don't think they're necessary. And this is definitely one series does not need a prequel, because it's like, there's no story behind these strangers. They're strangers. They're just there and they just kill people. There's no story behind them. They're random people. I'm just kind of excited for another Strangers movie, if I'm being completely honest. I will say though, this looks like it's going to be a trilogy, because when I looked this up on Letterboxd, it also had chapter 2 and 3 on there. I don't really know what that means, if all three of those is going to be before the OG like 2008 one, or what. I also did see that the director, Penny Harlan, has directed Die Hard 2 and A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, which I did react to on my channel if you're interested in seeing that, if that gets pumped in any sort of way. Next movie that I'm excited to see is In a Violent Nature. This is coming out May 31st, and the reason why I'm excited for this one is because, one, it's produced by Shudder. Shudder also produced Late Night with the Devil, which if you haven't checked out my review about that, definitely do so. I loved Late Night with the Devil. So ever since then, it's made me a little bit more curious to see like what other movies and what other type of things Shudder can produce. And I've been getting the trailers for this a lot, and it's so, what's the word? It's so vague. It doesn't really give you anything. It's just a guy walking around, and like, that's the whole trailer. So it's very ambiguous. That honestly makes me curious. Like, the trailer, okay, like, you got me intrigued, even though you didn't really tell me pretty much anything that's gonna happen in this movie. So I'm excited for that. It is gonna be a Canadian movie. How do we feel about that? I'm just kidding. Okay, so this one, I am actually probably another thing that I would want to see at least like the first week it comes out, but it is The Watchers. This is coming out June 7th. There's multiple reasons why I'm intrigued by this. One is the premise, which is a 28-year-old artist gets stranded in an expansive, untouched forest in Western Ireland. Finding shelter, she unknowingly becomes trapped alongside 3 strangers who are stalked by mysterious creatures every night. So the trailer for this really confused me. I'm like the Spanish upside down question mark because the trailer for this looks crazy. Like it also has Dakota Fanning, who I love. She's in this like big glass box in the middle of the forest and they can't get out. I don't know. It was really, really weird. Like that freaks me out. The wilderness at night scares me. Scares me immensely. That freaked me out. That intrigued me. Second thing, like I said, Dakota Fanning, who I love, love, love. Third is this is directed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter, Ishana. This is her directorial debut. So I don't know. It could really be hit or miss, just like M. Night Shyamalan. I think a general consensus is that M. Night Shyamalan's earlier movies are way better than like what he's kind of been pushing out lately. But I don't know how we feel about her. I mean, she hasn't really directed anything, obviously, so I don't really know like what kind of vibe she's gonna bring. And also, it's just like, no offense, Nepo baby. It's just kind of like, okay, let's just. The bar is pretty low, but the trailer looked so good for this. I'm just like, oof. Is it gonna have a classic Shyamalanian twist? I don't know, but I'm really, really pumped to see where this goes. All right, next we have the third installment in this Ty West trilogy. I think it's gonna be just a trilogy, but we have Maxine. We finally got a trailer for this pretty recently and a release date of July 5th. So I'm very excited to see this. I watched and reacted to both X and Pearl on my channel. So definitely check those out if you're interested in that, to see that before we engage in this Maxine story. So the premise for this kind of worries me a little bit. The premise is, in 1980s Hollywood, adult film star and aspiring actress Maxine Minx finally gets her big break. However, as a mysterious killer stalks the starlets of LA, a trail of blood threatens to reveal her sinister past. So like I said, I loved both Pearl and X. The stylization of it was amazing. The colors, the design, like the costume design, whatever, all of it, loved it. And I also loved Mia Goth in it. She's psychotic and I love it. My one gripe with this, I'm still excited to see this movie and I still want to see it. My one gripe with this, if you don't know this already, is the fact that it's set in the 80s. I don't like the 80s. I don't like present movies set in the 80s. I like movies that are actually filmed in the 80s. It's set like in present time, but it's like actually the 80s, you know? Friday the 13th. That's an 80s movie because it was actually 1980 when it came out. This is 2024, baby. But we're setting it in the 80s and it never looks as good to me for some reason. I don't like it. So that's my only gripe with it. And I also like the stylization of in the middle of the wilderness that X and Pearl were kind of like taking place in. So basically any other time period besides 80s, I'm just like, ugh. I'm gonna try to get over it though, because I do want to see this and we already watched the first two, so it's like, we gotta watch this one. You know, I'm excited. Ooh, okay, this next one seems really, really cool. I don't really know how this is gonna play out with this title, how it's gonna be incorporated into the movie, but the movie is Long Legs. This comes out July 12th. This is starring and produced by Nicolas Cage, which some people might feel a certain way about that. I personally like Nicolas Cage because he's kind of unhinged and he needs to be in unhinged movies. I talked about this when I watched National Treasure, but when he's being like a normal person, it feels weird to me. I want him to be unhinged, and I think that's kind of like what is gonna happen maybe in this movie. So the premise for this one, an FBI agent, Lee Harker, is assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence of the occult. Harker discovers a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again. Now, another thing that intrigues me is that this is produced by Neon. I talked a little bit about that in my Immaculate review because that was also produced by Neon. I had not seen a lot of films produced by Neon, even when I looked them up. The other ones is Cuckoo, which I'm also excited about that, but by the time this video comes out, Cuckoo will already be out. But I do want to see that one. And Parasite, another one that everyone I've ever talked to gives it 5 stars, but another movie I've never seen. So even when I was looking on the list, looking it up, the most notable one was Immaculate. And I really like the stylization of Immaculate, and I like that it was a little bit different. It wasn't just basic nun story or whatever. So I'm intrigued also by the title of this being Long Legs because it sounds kind of like spider-y, and I love spiders. Have a spider tattoo right here. I love spiders. I love like the creepy idea of them. So I don't know, I'm kind of hoping that this is going to have a spider in there. All right, next is probably a controversial one, but I will explain why I'm excited for this. The next movie is Twisters, coming out July 19th. Now, the first Twister movie. Never seen it. I am planning to watch it though before this new one comes out. So depending, I guess it's kind of depending on if I like that movie or not, because I have yet to film that video. I'm planning to watch that I think next month because this comes out July 19th. So my video will be out before Twisters comes out. I think it's gonna have a whole different new people, whole different cast. I don't know if any of the old people from the original will come back to this one, but my excitement for this actually kind of weighs on whether my reaction video for this, like how I feel in that video. So I put it on the list either way because we'll see how I feel about it. I think it's just about a twister. Do I need to say more? It's about a twister. Natural disaster movies, stuff like that, freaks me out. Okay, next we are going to be talking about Trap. This is coming out August 9th. Now I got a trailer for this and I didn't really watch it because I knew that it was M. Night Shyamalan. I feel like a lot of his trailers nowadays, they give too much away. But I watched it, I fell into the trap, I watched the trailer, and yeah, I do think it gave the twist away, but who knows, maybe he'll surprise us and it'll be different. But the premise of this is kind of interesting. A man and his daughter realize they're at the center of a dark and sinister event while watching a concert. So for some reason, the idea that this takes place in a concert, so maybe there'll be some weird like culty, I don't know, vibes. I'm kind of hoping there's like a cult in there or whatever with the singer or something like that. I do like the concept that it's in a concert because it's like really hard to escape if there's like a shit ton of people in this arena. So, I don't know, it sounds stressful. If anything, it sounds stressful and I'm here for that. All right, the next movie I'm most excited to come out later this year is Speak No Evil. Now, this is coming out September 13th, and there's also many reasons why I'm excited about this one. The premise of it didn't really intrigue me too much, if I'm being completely honest, but the fact that James McAvoy is starring in it really did catch my attention, pique my interest, and also the fact that it's directed by James Watkins. Now, he did Eden Lake, which I've never seen, but I have heard that Eden Lake is like a very disturbing movie, which intrigues me. I don't really know if I want to watch it, but it intrigues me enough to want to see this one. I think he also did The Woman in Black, which I think came out like 2012 or something. I watched that when I first came out, so obviously I was like 12 and that freaked me out immensely. So that also intrigues me a little bit. Thirdly, he directed the Black Mirror episode, Shut Up and Dance, which is actually one of my more favorite Black Mirror episodes, probably one of my favorite ones. So, I don't know, I haven't really seen any of his work in a long time, the Black Mirror and the Woman in Black. I haven't really seen those in a really long time, but I am interested enough to go and see this. Maybe not right when it comes out, but we'll see. Maybe I'll have nothing to do that week and I'll go to the theaters and watch it. Next, I don't really know if this date is going to be accurate, if it'll stick, but there's supposed to be a Smile 2 coming out October 18th of this year. Like I said, I feel like the date for that might change, especially dates so far out in the future. Don't know if that date will stick, but I didn't also really think that the first Smile really called for a sequel. I kind of liked that it ended and it was just like, all right, loops, and it goes on and on and on and on. And it's just gonna be forever. So I don't know how that's really gonna play into the Smile 2, if they're gonna end it some way, shape, or form, try to fight like this demon. It is going to be following Joel's journey, who was played by Kyle Gallner, which I loved him. He was also in the 2022 Scream. I loved him in Smile. He was definitely one of my favorite characters. Probably my favorite character, actually. But it was good. No, this is also gonna have Naomi Scott, who was in Aladdin. I kind of know her from Lemonade Mouth from Disney Channel. And Lucas Gage. I know him from White Lotus. So I'm intrigued. I also did watch Smile for my channel. If you want to check that out, just to prep yourself before this one comes out, I encourage you to do so. And lastly, we have Nosferatu coming out on Christmas, December 25th. Don't know if they'll keep that Christmas date. I know there's always kind of like a fight for like the Christmas date release, but I've never seen the original Nosferatu, but I'm excited for this one because the OG Nosferatu, I think, is hella old. Like, isn't it like in the 40s or something? I don't know. It's super old. I want to see a more, not like modern version of it. I want to see, like, this is a movie that I'm okay with it taking place like in the 1800s or whenever the fuck it's supposed to be taking place. I'm okay with that, but I want it to be coming out in 2024 because it's like, it'll be much easier to follow in my head. I don't know. I don't know. It'll be much easier to follow. But this is going to be directed by Robert Eggers. Now, I'm kind of like iffy on a lot of his work. He did The Witch. I reacted to that on my channel. Was not the biggest fan. Honestly, it was hella boring. He likes those dark, like dark movies. Dark as in there's like no lighting. I couldn't see shit in The Witch and it kind of pissed me off. He also did The Lighthouse. Never seen that, but it's in black and white and I'm like, no, nar. I think this one, Nosferatu, is going to be all in black and white. I don't know how I feel about that. And he also did The Northman. Did not watch that, but it really was not up my alley anyways, so kind of wary. I am interested in this cast. We got Bill Skarsgård, William Dafoe, Lily Rose Depp, and Nicholas Hoult. And I really like all of them. I mean, aside from Lily Rose Depp, I don't really know anything that she's in. Bill Skarsgård, love him. William Dafoe, how can you not love him? Nicholas Hoult, I actually really like him too. So we'll see. I will definitely go and see it. I don't have the highest expectations, but maybe it'll blow me out of the water. Just the whole The Witch thing is kind of throwing me off because I didn't really like that one. Okay, so now that that is all taken care of, now we're going to be talking about all of the movies that have yet to have a release date announced. So the most important one on this list is, of course, Final Destination Bloodlines. Ooh, I'm so excited for this. So excited for this. So, like I said, this is yet to have a release date, but there has been more and more information coming out from this. So all we know is that I think it's supposed to be scheduled to release next year, 2025. And most importantly, Tony Todd has signed on to reprise his role as William Bloodsworth. That's gonna be exciting. I think this concept is supposed to be kind of centered around Tony Todd's characters. So don't know how I feel about that, but I will watch any Final Destination movie. The two exceptions to the I'm tired of sequels and reboots rule is Final Destination and Planet of the Apes. And both of those are in this video. So I'm a happy gal. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's gonna happen. The movie could really just be just like another Final Destination, just a normal one. It's not like expanding on the world any more than it already is. All the Final Destination movies aren't really connected to each other unless it's like the last ones. But other than that, they're just like, okay, and this is happening to this other person. There's no connection to any of the people. That's fine with me. I'm like, just show me some interesting deaths, baby. I'm so pumped for this one. I will be camping out the theater waiting for that. All right, so the next one that I'm going to be talking about is called Morningstar. So this is going to be directed by John Caglione Jr. He is actually a special effects artist, and he's worked on like some amazing, incredible things, such as The Dark Knight, The Sopranos, Saturday Night Live, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Friday the 13th Part 2, and Terrifier 3. So he has a long history of being a special effects artist. This is his directorial debut, and I'm really interested to see how this plays out. So the premise for this one is a group of college kids head to Daytona Beach for their spring break vacation, and things quickly go awry when one of their friends goes missing. The group embark on a misadventure to find their lost friend and find themselves somewhere much hotter than Daytona Beach. So I'm really, really pumped to see this one because, one, I think it's really important and necessary to have people who kind of have experience on movie sets or being around movies, getting hands-on experience to kind of expand the genre a little bit. And I like the fact that this is especially happening with a special effects artist. Now, special effects is something which, I don't know, I've never really talked about this, was something I've always been interested in. Like growing up, I was kind of going down the path of becoming a special effects artist. Like I was really interested in that and I really wanted to have that as a career. Didn't work out, but that's okay. I mean, it was just something I was really interested in, but it is something that's still stuck true to me and stuck with me to this day whenever I watch movies. I think that's why I like horror movies a lot, is because you can really expand on special effects and have practical effects, which I love. We love the practicality. We love the practical effects. I love seeing the makeup design for horror movies. So the fact that such a notable, well-respected special effects artist is going to do a horror movie and direct it, like, that's amazing. That gets me really pumped up. They also most recently launched a crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. So they will have a lot of opportunities to have fans get involved. If you want to support them, I'll have the link for that in the description below to help get the word out about this, because this is something that is going to be on my radar and I'm really pumped to see how they contribute to this genre, because the premise of it being, first of all, like spring break, summery, you know I love that shit. It's summer, hot, spring break movies like that, horror movies like that. That's kind of why I like Friday the 13th so well, which he worked on. That really adds on to my interest for this movie. And hearing the line that like the group discover something hotter than Daytona Beach, I'm thinking, are we going to be entering hell? We're gonna find like the pits of hell. I don't know, but this could really go anywhere, because that's something also with like directorial debuts. You got nothing else to work with and it's like literally anything could happen. So I'm really excited to see how this all comes together and gets mushed together into this movie. So once again, please check out the link in my description to get more information about that and see their campaign on Indiegogo. Okay, so another movie that I kind of just intrigued about just for like shits and giggles, honestly, is Y2K. So this is written and directed by Kyle Mooney from SNL fame. He is so funny. Again, written and directed by him. I'm not sure how it's gonna go. I do think it will be hopefully funny, because I personally think him as a comedian is funny. Sometimes we don't know how that's gonna transcribe to a movie, a full-length movie. That could be going really bad or going really well, but the cast for this also intrigues me. We got Rachel Ziegler, we got Jaden Martell from It, I think it's Lachian Watson from the Chucky TV series fame. So we will know, you know, who these people are, because at least Jaden Martell and Lachian Watson, at least they are like in the horror movie or horror realm. I do think the concept of this is really funny, that it takes place with the Y2K scare. It's gonna be apparently a disaster comedy, so maybe not super horror, but I do like disaster kind of thriller type of movies. And then the last movie that's kind of on my radar as of this moment that does not have a release date is Presence. Now this intrigues me because it's starring Lucy Liu and Julia Fox. It did make its debut at Sundance of this year in January of 2024. It's had pretty decent reviews about that. I don't like watching reviews about movies that premiere at Sundance too much, because it kind of spoils it, and then it's also like it doesn't get like widely released in theaters till like months later. Can someone tell me why they do that? Because I don't know why. It's like if the movie's finished and it is at Sundance, I think it's just to get like the crowd vibe if people do or don't like it, and then they're like, hey, if people don't like it, we gotta change a couple things. I don't know. But the premise for this is very simple, or at least the ones that is released is, it's just sounding like a home invasion. A family moves into a suburban house and becomes convinced they're not alone. That's really open for interpretation. Like I said, anything could happen. So we don't really know know what to expect, but I do like Lucy Liu and Julia Fox. So I love seeing those girlies come together for a horror movie. So those are all of the movies that I'm excited and pumped for to come. I'm gonna try to get videos about these movies out as much as I can and give you guys updates as often as I possibly can. Most number ones are probably Morningstar, Final Destination, The Watchers, and of course Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but that's a given, you know, of course, love Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. With that said and done, I want to give a huge shout out to all of my patrons, and especially Mark Sylvester, David Kaplan, James Cox, and Tragic Mike. Thank you so much, and make sure to go ahead and check out my Patreon if you haven't already. Okay, so let me know if I've missed anything, what you guys are mostly excited for. Give me like a top 3 that you're most excited for. It can be from this list, it can be from other stuff. I'm gonna make another video about like horror games that are coming out because I know I say it every year, but I really am gonna try to get invested in like horror games for this channel. Maybe we'll just do it on Patreon just for a little bit, just to test. Let me know what you guys are mostly excited for. It can be also for video games too, but we're gonna have a whole other video for that. So if you wanna save that comment for the video game video, then you can do so. So just give me like a top 3 movies that are upcoming that you're excited for. Even TV shows. I know that I didn't mention that there are talks about there being another Chucky movie because it's not really like confirmed. I am pumped because we love Chucky on this channel. Love Chucky, but it's not like super confirmed yet. So that's why I didn't really include it. Same thing with the Crystal Lake show, which is the prequel show that's going to be on Peacock. It's produced by A24. That I also don't think has a release date. I think they're still working on that. So I'm not really sure what we can expect with that. So I did not include that because I don't think there's like too much information about it. And I've also talked about it so much. The Crystal Lake show I talked about, like, I don't even know, in 2022. I talked about that for a video for 2023. And then it's 2024 and it still hasn't happened. So who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Same thing with the Chucky thing. I'm gonna mention it and they won't come out for like another like 3 years. Watch. So we'll see. But thank you guys for coming along with me on this journey. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all of that jazz. And as always, thanks for watching.